So I want to jump into reentry, and I passed around a couple of Mythbusters. Anybody familiar or seen these Reentry Mythbusters before? It's almost a tongue twister, so if I start slobbering over here, showing you, don't hold it against Mythbusters.
Okay.
We know that reentry is a public safety issue, right? I mean, the goal of most reentry programs, as is ours, the Community Reentry Project, is to help reduce the number of people that are being reincarcerated, the tax burden on the city, and that's the goal. But the thing about reentry is it's also an employment issue, as you all know. Statistics have shown that 2 in 3 men were working or the financial contributors in their household before they were incarcerated. How many of you have clients or customers that come into your office and say, Charlene, all I need is a job. All my problems are going to be solved, Bonnie. If I could just get a job. Michelle, that's the biggest red flag that I see for a client coming in. And one of the reasons is employment is not, or unemployment, usually is not the root cause of criminal behavior. It could be a contributing factor. It could be a symptom of the problem. But when we get down to the root of the problem, and you see the statistic, 2 in 3 of the men incarcerated were the contributors. They were the breadwinners in their homes. So just having a job isn't the issue. Be mindful of that. Employment is also a public health issue. Individuals that are released from prisons and jails represent a sizable share of the U.S. population carrying communicable diseases. And employment is a housing issue. We know that when housing and employment needs are met, we know that the recidivism rate is reduced dramatically, nearly 80%. And when we look at reentry as a housing issue, we understand the homelessness factor. It works both ways. Homelessness is associated with a higher risk for incarceration, and incarceration contributes to the risk of homelessness. So these are all the hats you all are having to wear. It's an education issue. Reentry is one of the 20 fastest growing occupations. 13 require a post-secondary education. Are you seeing a majority of your clients with post-secondary degrees? How many of you have a majority of your clients are needing to get their GED or high school diplomas? So these are the challenges when working with customers with offenses or customers with criminal backgrounds. It's a behavioral health issue. Consider that 2 out of 3 people in prison meet the criteria for substance abuse or dependence, and 24% have a mental illness. And we're not even talking about the numbers of folks that have not been diagnosed. How are you helped serving them? Few receive the treatment while incarcerated or even after returning to the community. So we're talking about just trying to meet employment needs, but there's a lot of other needs that got to be met. 1 in 28 children has a parent behind bars. 1 in 9 African American children has a parent incarcerated. Pretty sombering numbers, right? These are all the things that come along with working, and I don't have to tell you this, you already know this, with customers with offenses. So the question I'm presenting is, how many hats are you wearing in the Employment First program? And which ones are you wearing? You having to help get jobs? Or are you building and trying to give housing services? What about child care? We know that that's a barrier. Behind here was written up. Medical attention. I want to encourage you to be a resource agent.